Hey guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Numbers 28 to 33, Proverbs 23, and Psalm 116. Let's get started. The Lord spake to Moses, command the people of Israel and say to them, my offering, my food for my food offerings, my place in aroma, you shall be careful to offer to me at its appointed time. And you shall say to them, this is the food offering that you shall offer to the Lord, 2 male lambs a year old without blemish, day by day as a regular offering. The one lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at twilight. This is a tenth of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with a quarter of a hin of beaten oil. This is a regular burnt offering, which was ordained at Mount Sinai for a pleasing aroma. A food offering to the Lord. His drink offering shall be a quarter of a hin for each lamb. In the holy place you shall pour out a drink offering of strong drink to the Lord. The other lamb you shall offer at twilight, like the grain offering of the morning, and like his drink offering, you shall offer it as a food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. On the Sabbath day, 2 male lambs a year old without blemish, and 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with oil, and his drink offering. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath. Besides the regular burnt offering and his drink offering, at the beginnings of your month, you shall offer a burnt offering to the Lord, 2 bulls from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old without blemish, also 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering mixed with oil for each bull, and 2/10 of fine flour for a grain offering mixed with oil for the 1 ram, and 1/10 of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for a burnt offering with a pleasing aroma. A food offering to the Lord. The drink offering shall be half a hin of wine for a bull, 1/3 of a hin for a ram, and a quarter of a hin for a lamb. This is the burnt offering of each month throughout the months of the year. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering to the Lord. It shall be offered besides the regular burnt offering and drink offering. On the 14th day of the first month is the Lord's Passover, and on the 15th day of this month is a feast. 7 days shall unleavened bread be eaten. On the first day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, but offer a food offering. A burnt offering to the Lord, 2 bulls from the herd, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old. See that they are without blemish. As to the grain offerings of flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah shall you offer for a bull, and 2/10 for a ram. A 10th you shall you offer for each of the 7 men. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, to make atonement for you. You shall offer these besides the burnt offering of the morning, which is for a regular burnt offering. In the same way you shall offer daily, 7 days, the food of a food offering, with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. It shall be offered besides the regular burnt offering and his drink offering. And on the 7th day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. On the day of the first feast, when you offer a grain offering of new grain to the Lord at your feast of weeks, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. Offer a burnt offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord, 2 bulls from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. This is a grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for each bull, 2/10 for 1 ram, and a 10th for each of the 7 lambs, with 1 male goat to make atonement for you. Besides the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, you shall offer them and their drink offering. See that they are without blemish. On the first day of the 7th month you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. It is a day for you to blow the trumpets, and you shall offer a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to the Lord, 1 bull from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old without blemish. This is the grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for the bull, 2/10 for the ram, and 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs, with 1 male goat for a sin offering, to make atonement for you, besides the burnt offering of the new and its grain offering, and the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, and their drink offering, according to the rule for them, for a pleasing aroma, a food offering to the Lord. On the 10th day of this 7th month you shall have a holy convocation and afflict yourself. You shall do no work, but you shall offer a burnt offering to the Lord, a pleasing aroma, 1 bull from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. See that they are without blemish, and their grain offering shall be a fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for the bull, 2/10 for the 1 ram, and a 10th for each of the 7 lambs. Also 1 male goat for the sin offering. Besides the sin offering of atonement, and the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and their drink offerings. On the 15th day of the 7th month, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, and you shall keep a feast to the Lord 7 days. And you shall offer a burnt offering, a food offering with pleasing aroma to the Lord, 13 bulls from the herd, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old. They shall be without blemish, and their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for each of the 13 bulls, 2/10 for each of the 2 rams, and 1/10 for each of the 14 lambs. Or so one will get for a sin offering. Besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 2nd day, 12 bulls from the herd, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offering for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs in the prescribed quantities. And so one may go for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and their drink offerings. On the 3rd day, 11 bulls and 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Or someone may go for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and its drink offering. On the 4th day, 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the ram, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also, one may go for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 5th day, 9 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, without blemish, with the 5th day, with the grain offering and drink offerings for the bulls, and for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also, one may go for her sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and his grain offerings and his drink offerings. On the 6th day, 8 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings. Grain offering and the drink offering. And for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. There's only one go for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering, and its prescribed quantity, and its drink offerings. On the 7th day, 7 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offering for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Or someone may go for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 8th day, you shall have a solemn assembly. You shall not do any ordinary work, but you shall offer a burnt offering, a food offering, with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old, without blemish, and the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bull, for the ram, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. And one male go for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering and its drink offering. These you shall offer to the Lord at your appointed feast, in addition to your vow offerings and your free will offerings, for your burnt offering, and for your grain offering, and for your drink offering, and for your peace offerings. So Moses told the people of Israel everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. And Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of the people of Israel, saying, This is what the Lord has commanded. If a man vows a vow to the Lord, or swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. If a woman vows a vow to the Lord and binds herself by a pledge while within her father's house in the youth, and if her father hears of her vow and of her pledge by which she has bound herself, and says nothing to it, then all her vows shall stand, and every pledge by which she has bound herself shall stand. If her father opposes her on the day that he hears of it, her vow of hers, no pledge by which she has bound herself shall stand. And the Lord will forgive her, because her father opposed her. If she marries her husband while under her vows, or any thoughtless utterance of the words by which she is bound herself, and her husband hears of it and says nothing to her on the day that he is, but if on the day that her husband comes to hear of it, he opposes her, and he makes void her vow held on her, and the thoughtless utterance of the lips by which she bound herself, and the Lord will forgive her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself by a pledge with an oath, and her husband heard of it and said nothing to her and did not oppose her, then all her vows shall stand, and every pledge by which she bound herself shall stand. If her husband makes them null and void on the day that he hears them, And whatever proceeds out of her lips concerning her vows or concerning her pleasure of herself shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord will forgive her any vow and any binding oath to afflict herself. Her husband may establish, or her husband may make void. But if her husband says nothing to her from day to day, and he establishes all her vows and all her pledges that are on her, he has established them, because he said nothing to her on the day that he heard them. If he makes them null and void after he has heard them, and he shall bear iniquity. These are statutes which the Lord commanded Moses about a man and his wife, and about a father and his daughter while she is in the youth within the father's house. The Lord spake to Moses, saying, Avenge the people of Israel on the Midianites. Afterward you shall be gathered to your people. So Moses spake to the people, saying, Arm men from among you for the war, and they may go against Midian to execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian. You shall send 1,000 from each of the tribes of Israel to the war. So there were provided out of the thousands of Israel, 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 from each tribe, together the finest and some other priest, with the vessels of the sanctuary, and the trumpet for the alarm in his hand. They warred against Midian, as the Lord commanded Moses, and killed every man. They killed the kings of Midian. With the rest of their slain. Every Rechab, Zer, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. And they also killed Balaam the son of Beor with the sword. And the people of Israel took captive the women of Midian and their little ones. And they took as plunder all their cattle, their flocks, and all their goods, and all their cities and their places where they lived, and all their encampments they burned with fire, and took all the spoil and all the plunder, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and plunder and the spoil to Moses, and to Eleazar the priest, and to the congregation of the people of Israel, at the camp on the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the chiefs of the congregation went to meet them outside the camp. And Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, who had come from service in the war. And he said, How do you let all the women live? Behold, these unbalanced advice called the people of Israel to act treacherously against the Lord in the incident of appeal. So the party came among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man by lying with them. All the young girls who have not known men by lying with them, keep alive for yourselves. You can't pass outside the camp 7 days. Whoever of you has killed any person, and whoever has touched any slain, purify yourself in your baptism on the 3rd day. And on the 7th day, you shall purify every garment, every article of skin, all work of goat's hair, and every article of wood. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men in the army who had gone to battle, This is the statute of the Lord that the Lord has commanded Moses. Only the gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that can stand by fire, you shall pass through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall also be purified with the water for impurity. And whatever cannot stand the fire, you shall pass through the water. You must wash your clothes on the Sabbath day, and you shall be clean, and after you may come into the camp. And the Lord said to Moses, Take the cabins of plunder thou hast taken, both a man and a beast, you and Eleazar the priest, and the heads of fathers' houses of the congregation, and divide the plunder into 2 parts between the warriors who went out to battle and all the congregation. And levy for the Lord a tribute from the men of war who went out to battle, 1 out of 500 of the people, and of the oxen, and of the donkeys, and of the flocks. Take it from their half, and give it to Eleazar the priest as a contribution to the Lord. And from the people of Israel's half you shall take 1 drawn out of every 50 of the people, of the oxen, of the donkeys, and of the flocks, of all the cattle, and give them to the Levites who keep guard over the tabernacle of the Lord. Now Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. Now the plunder remaining of the spoil that the army took was 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 persons in all, women who had not known man by lying with him. And the half, the portion of those who had gone out in the army, numbered 337,500 sheep, and the Lord's tribute of sheep was 675. The cattle was 36,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 72. The donkeys were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 61. And the persons were 1,600. 16,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 32 persons. And Moses gave the tribute, which was the contribution of for the Lord, to Eleazar the priest, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the people of Israel's half, which Moses separated from that of the men who had served in the army. Now the congregation's half was 337,500 sheep, 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and 1,600 persons. From the people of Israel's half, Moses took one of every 50, both a person and a beast, and gave them to the Levites who kept guard of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The officers who were over the thousands of the army, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, came near to Moses and said to Moses, "Your servants have counted the men of all who are under command, and there's not a man missing from us. And we have brought the Lord's offering, where each man found articles of gold, armlets and bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and beads, to make a chamber for all crafted articles, and all the gold of the contribution that they presented to the Lord from the commanders of thousands and the commanders of 100 was 16,750 shekels. And Moses and Eleazar the priest received the gold from the commanders of thousands and hundreds, and brought it into the tent of meeting as a memorial for the people of Israel before the Lord. Now the people of Reuben and the people of Gad had a very great number of livestock, and they saw the land of Jazan and the land of Gilead, and behold, the place was a place for livestock. So the people of Gad and the people of Reuben came and said to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the chiefs of the congregation, Ataros, Dibeth, Jazan, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elohet, Sebam, Neber, and Ben, the land that the Lord struck down before the congregation of Israel, is the land of livestock, and your servants have livestock. And they said, if we have found favor in your sight, let this land be given to your servants for a possession. Do not take us across the Jordan. And I said to the people of Gad and to the people of Reuben, let us go to war while you sit here. Why will you discourage the heart of the people of Israel from going over into the land that the Lord has given them? Your fathers did this when I sent them from California to the sea land. When they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the people of Israel from going into the land and saw that the Lord had given them. And the Lord's anger was kindled from that day, and he swore, saying, surely none of the men who came up out of Egypt from 20 years old upwards shall see the land I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me, none except Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun. None, for they have wholly followed the Lord. And the Lord's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord was gone. And behold, he hath risen in your father's place a brood of sinful men, to increase still more the fierce anger of the Lord against Israel. For if you turn away from following him, he will get abandoned them in the wilderness, and you will destroy all of this people. And they came near to him and said, we will build sheepfolds here for all our livestock, and cities for our little ones. Then we will take up arms, ready to go before the people of Israel, until we have brought them to their place. And our little ones shall live in the fortified cities, because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our hands until each of the people of Israel has gained his inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has come to us on this side of the Jordan to the east. So Moses said to them, if you will do this, if you will take up arms to go before the Lord for the war, and every armed man of you will pass over the Jordan before the Lord, until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land is subdued before the Lord. And after that you shall return and be free of obligation to the Lord and to Israel, and this land shall be a possession before the Lord. And if you will not do so, he hold you for sinning against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Your seed for your little one, and folds for your sheep, and do what you promised. And the people of Gad and the people of Reuben said to Moses, your servants will do as my Lord commanded, and the little ones, our wives, our livestock, and wild cattle shall remain there in the seas of Gilead, and your servants will pass over. However, every man who is armed for war, and for the Lord to battle, as my Lord orders. So Moses gave command concerning them to Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers' houses of the tribes of the people of Israel. And Moses said to them, if the people of Gad and the people of Reuben, every man who is armed to battle for the Lord, will pass with you over the Jordan, and the land shall be subdued before you, and you shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. However, if they will not pass over with you armed, They shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan, and the people of Gad and the people of Reuben answered, but the Lord has said to yourselves, we will do. You will pass over armed before the Lord in the land of Canaan, and the possession of our inheritance shall remain just beyond the Jordan. And Moses gave to the people of Gad, and to the people of Reuben, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and the land and the cities with their territories, the cities of the land throughout the country. And the people of Gad built Dibon, Ataroth, Aroer, Artroth, Shopha, Jazer, Jogbeha, Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, fortified cities, and forts for sheep. And the people of Reuben built Heshbon, Elah, Kirithaim, Nebo, and Baalmeon, and Sibmah. And they gave other names to the cities that they built. And the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead, and they captured it, and dispersed thus the Amorites who were in it. And Moses gave Gilead to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and settled in it. And Jair, the son of Manasseh, went and captured their villages, and called them Havoth-Jair. And Nebo went and captured Kenath and its villages, and called it Nebo after his own name. These are the stages of the people of Israel. And they went out of the land of Egypt by their companies under the leadership of Moses. And Moses wrote down their starting places stage by stage. They commanded the Lord, and these are their stages according to their starting places. They set out from Ramesses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. On the day after the Passover, the people of Israel went out triumphantly in the sight of all the Egyptians. While the Egyptians were burying all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them, on their gods also the Lord executed judgments. So the people of Israel set out from Ramesses and camped at Succoth. And they set out from Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they set out from Etham and turned back to Pi-hahiroth, which is east of Baal-zephyr, and they camped before Migdol. And they set out before Hahiroth, and passed through the midst of the sea, and camped at midst of the sea and into the wilderness. And they went a 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham, and camped at Marah. And they set out from Marah and came to Elam. At Elam there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. And they set out from Elam and camped by the Red Sea. And they set out from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they set out from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dophkah. And they set out from Dophkah and camped at Alush. And they set out from Alush and camped at Rephidim, which there was no water for the people to drink. And they set out from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they went out from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth-hattaavah. And they went out from Kibroth-hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. And they set out from Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. And they set out from Rithmah and camped at Rimmon-Perez. And they set out from Rimmon-Perez and camped at Libnah. And they set out from Libnah and camped at Rissah. And they set out from Rissah and camped at Kehelatha. And they set out from Kehelatha and camped at Mount Shepha. And they set out from Mount Shepha and camped at Haradah. And they set out from Haradah and camped at Makheloth. And they set out from Makheloth and camped at Tath. And they set out from Tath and camped at Terah. And they set out from Terah and camped at Mithkah. And they set out from Mithkah and camped at Heshmona. And they set out from Heshmona and camped at Moseroth. And they set out from Moseroth and camped at Ben-Jachin. And they set out from Ben-Jachin and camped at Hor-Haggidgad. And they set out from Hor-Haggidgad and camped at Jotbatha. And they set out from Jotbatha and camped at Abrona. And they set out from Abrona and camped at Ezin-Geber. And they set out from Ezin-Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin. And they set out from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, on the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up on Mount Hor at the command of the Lord and died there in the 40th year after the people of Israel had come out of the land of Egypt, on the first day of the 5th month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. And the Canaanite, the king of Ar, who lived in the Negev in the land of Canaan, heard the coming of the people of Israel. And they set out from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmon. And they set out from Zalmon and camped at Punah. And they set out from Punah and camped at Oboth. And they set out from Oboth and camped at Iabarim in the territory of Moab. And they set out from Iam and camped at Dibon-Gad. And they set out from Dibon-Gad and camped at Almon-Diblathaim. And they set out from Almon-Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim before Nebo. And they set out from the mountains of Abarim and camped in the plains of Moab and the Jordan at Jericho. And they camped by the Jordan from Beth Jeshimoth as far as Abel-Shittim in the plains of Moab. And the Lord spake to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when you pass out of the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their figured stones, and destroy all their battle images, and demolish all their high places. And you shall take possession of the land and settle it, for I have given the land to you to possess it. You shall inherit the land by lot according to your clans. And to a large tribe you shall give a large inheritance, and to a small tribe you shall give a small inheritance. And wherever the lot falls for Daniel, that shall be his. According to the tribes of your father, they shall inherit. And if you do not turn the inheritance of the land from before you, and those of the who remain shall be as barbs in your eye and thorns in your side. And they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell, and I will do to you as I thought to do to them. Proverbs 20:23. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, observe carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you are given to appetite. For do not desire his delicacy, for they are deceptive food. Do not toil to acquire wealth, for he is setting enough to desist. When your eyes are on it, it is gone. For suddenly it sprouts wings, flying like an eagle toward heaven. Do not eat the bread of a man who is stingy. Do not desire his delicacies. He is like one who is inwardly calculated. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. You have vomited up the morsels that you have eaten, and waste your pleasant words. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the good sense of your words. Do not move an ancient landmark, or enter the hoods of the fatherless. For they are demons strong. He will plead their cause against you. Apply your heart to instruction, and your ear to words of knowledge. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. If you strike him with a rod, you will save his soul from trouble. My son, if your heart is right, my heart too will be glad. And in my speaking will exalt when your lips speak what is right. Let not your heart envy sinners, but continue in the fear of the Lord all the day. Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Hear my son, and be wise, and direct your heart on the way. Be not among drunkards, and among gluttonous eaters of meat. For the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and a slumber and will clothe them with rags. Listen to your father who gave you life, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Hide truth, and do not sell. Thy wisdom, instruction, and understanding. The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice. That he who fathers a wise son will be glad. Let your father and mother be glad. Let her boy rejoice. My son, give me a heart, and let your eyes observe my ways. For prostitute is a deep pit, and adulteress is a narrow well. But he lies in wait like a robber, and increases the trade among mankind. Who is worried? Who is sorry? Who is strife? Who is complaining? Who is weeds without cause? Who is redness of eyes? Those who tarry long over wine. Those who go to try and mix wine. Do not look at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup and goes down smoothly. In the end it bites like a serpent, and stings like an adder. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart utter perverse things. It will be like one who lies down in the midst of the sea, like one who lies on top of the mast. They struck me, you'll say, but I will not hurt. They beat me, but I do not feel it. Psalm 116. I love the Lord because he has heard my voice and my plea for mercy, because he inclined his ear to me. Therefore I will call on him as long as I live. The snares of death encompass me, the pangs of Sheol laid hold of me. I suffered distress and anguish. And then I called on the name of the Lord. O Lord, I pray, deliver my soul. Gracious is the Lord and righteous, our God is merciful. The Lord preserves the simple. And I was brought low, he saved me. Return my soul to your rest, for the Lord has dealt bountifully with you. You have delivered my soul from death, and my eyes from tears, my feet from stumbling. I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. Believe, even when I speak, I am greatly afflicted. I sit in my alarm, all mankind of lies. What shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits to me? And I'll lift up the cup of salvation and call on the name of the Lord. And I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. Precious is the sight of the Lord, and the death of his saints. O Lord, I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have loosed my bonds. I will offer to you on the sacrifice of thanksgiving and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of the Lord, in the midst of Jerusalem. Praise the Lord. Now this time I shall enter the Lord's prayer. Please bow your heads. Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.